So there's this new achievement, at least it's new to me, and it's called Is It a Balloon? And if you can guess by what I'm holding, you might have a clue what it is. And yep, it is when you look at a ghast through a spyglass. There we go. Hello everyone, welcome to my Minecraft Let's Play series. I've updated to Minecraft 1.19 and also added mob heads, so that will be pretty fun for us to have as a challenge to get all of them. So anyways, like I told you last episode, let's finish our villager trading hall and iron golem farm. So in case you're watching this episode and it's been a little bit of time since you watched the previous one, our problem was that the iron golems kept spawning on the same level as the villagers when they're supposed to be spawning up top. I wonder if them standing on the beds, since the beds are into the ground a little bit, I wonder if that makes them count as the block below. So I'm actually wondering why I didn't see this in my creative testing world. Oh, I made it one block taller in my survival world. So I guess this means I have my work cut out for me. So, so I think this means I have some options. I could either like raise all the beds by one or maybe decrease the height of the entire thing. So move all the roofs down one and then move the iron golem spawning level down by one as well. I think it's going to be a lot easier to raise the beds. And now I just have to repeat this like 100 more times. I've moved all the beds up one, and let's see if this works. And now we just have to wait for a little bit, and if we get no golems spawning on this bottom floor, then we are good. So it's been about an hour, and we've got about just a little over 2 stacks of iron, so that's pretty good. Unfortunately, we do have an iron golem up here, so I think we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And by drawing board, I mean my creative testing world. So I created this little setup here with some villagers. They are already slept, so we should be good to start testing out which things golems will spawn on and which things they won't. The next step is to make sure that we can actually get a golem to spawn, because if the iron golems aren't spawning in general, then how are we going to test this out? Perfect. The roof just needed to be one block lower. The good news is it means that the slabs are not spawnable either, which is great. So this means now we can test our next block, which is something that I really think is cool, is the azalea trees. And I happen to have a good amount of them in my survival world. So far this is also looking pretty good, but let's just make sure if I remove the blocks that no more golems spawn. And yeah, this is looking pretty good. And now there's just one more block I want to test, and that's the copper stairs. I think this should work for any stairs though in general. Okay, that was weird. I think the golem spawned on the dirt before I was able to put the stair there, but let's just make sure. Okay, it's been like a minute. I think we're good at this point. Here we are back in our survival world. Now, the one thing about the azalea is that they do need either like dirt or moss or something like that to grow on, and I don't really want to do any more digging, and I think it'll be a lot easier and a lot more fun to just keep doing this. Right, and there's our circle of greenery. And after a little bit of water bucket cleanup, now we can just mark out where we want the azalea to go. Of course, you know I'm going to be making another giant circle, but I kind of want the azalea to look like a circular path down the middle of this space between the edge going down and the villager houses. It should create a little bit of a nicer look and kind of break up the plain gray stone. I'm just gonna freehand this a little bit and we'll see what it looks like and kind of just fill it in from there. So I was able to fill in about half of it, and now I'm completely out of all of the azalea. However, I have an idea for how to get some azalea pretty quickly. So I've created this little area down here with the moss blocks underneath and then some trapdoors that will flood the area. And I lined some redstone down. When I step on this pressure plate, or I guess when I step off of it, the water is going to go ahead and flush all of the azalea trees as well as the moss carpets and grass and stuff like that. It'll clear that all for us. And then when I step back on the pressure plate, I can bone meal again. And now we just need to repeat this a bunch of times until we have all of the azalea that we need to complete the circle there. And with that, now we just place the last little bits of the azalea down. I was thinking, you know what would look really good with this? Copper stairs. And that is because I want to make quite a few of these stairs. And we're going to use the stairs to make a nice border of the azalea. And I think this will look really nice. And so I'll just be doing this, going all the way around. And then when you look at it, it's going to give this just a little bit of an edge. I think it'll look pretty good. So there we go. There's the one edge put in on all of this. And so I think the other thing that I'm going to be doing is just kind of bringing this out. And I actually don't think the fence here is needed anymore. Nice, this is looking great. And here we are with all of the slabs in now. And so I think I'm going to be doing the same thing to the other side. The one thing though is I think the lanterns might look pretty good hanging from the ceiling. So let's test that out. Down 2 and then something like that going all the way around. I think that could be neat. Maybe I should bring them in just one block though. And I'm actually going to raise it one. Something like that. Yeah, that looks cool. Here are the last copper going in. And here we go. We have a nice village coming together here. So now on to the behind the scenes part. I've already put down some slabs back here. And now we're just going to need to get either a zombie or something like that that will scare the villagers. Now I have the perfect idea. A while ago when I was playing the game, I think maybe even between episodes or something like that, I found there's the pillager patrols that wouldn't quit bothering me. And so I just put one of them in a boat and let him sit here. And so now we're going to give this guy a purpose. He is going to scare our villagers. Now, one thing that I learned that is actually pretty cool is the pillager's bow will break eventually. And you don't actually even need to use a shield or anything like that. You can just hop in the boat with them. And then I guess since you're so close, they can't actually shoot you. This is going to take a little while, so I'm just going to show you just when the bow breaks. And here we go, one Minecraft day later, we now have a pillager who can't hurt us at all. And that also means that they won't be able to hurt any of the villagers if they somehow escape. Now that we have our pillager in here, now we just need to build our minecart rail to get him around. And now I've built just a little bit of the track here. And let's see if it scares this villager. That's perfect. So I've completed the cart path going all the way around. You'll also notice that I put buttons down and I cleared one extra block in all of the corners. I did that just because I think sometimes minecarts, when they go around a turn like this, kind of just go down the middle. And I want to make sure if our guy is like partially inside this block, that he doesn't die, because these pillagers are kind of hard to get. I was kind of lucky that I just captured one earlier on when I was seeing the pillager patrols. And he's off. And now one last thing we need to do, let's convert some of the houses so this way they can see the pillager a little bit better. So this is pretty exciting. Now it's like a full capacity here, and we are just getting iron constantly coming out. And I could probably actually use this as a primary way of getting emeralds too. Awesome. So I can actually, I think I can finally say we are done with the Iron Golem farm. It is completely up and running, and that means we can now focus on beating the game. Now you might be asking yourself, wait, did I hear that correct? I'm going to slay the Ender Dragon. But before we can defeat any dragons, we gotta first get to the Nether, and so we need to make a Nether portal. Right, so where do we want to put this portal? So given that this is the location where we'll have our base and we're going with a volcano theme, I think it might make sense, since the Nether has lots of like lava and stuff like that, to build it a little bit below us. And so I think a good spot for that would be over by this edge over here, where we won't have to do quite as much digging right now. And you can see that this cave right here would be a good spot for our Nether portal. And of course, I can't just build a boring little 2x3 portal. I gotta build a big one, and then we gotta add some decorations to it. So I was thinking some amethyst, a little bit of netherrack, some magma blocks, and then let's add some glowberries too, because you know those always look pretty nice. And now here's what the portal looks like complete. Let's go. And here we are in the Nether. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and build a little bit of a stone perimeter around the portal, and that should make it a lot easier to find, as well as make sure that I don't get attacked right when I join the Nether or something like that. And of course, I forgot a hoe, so this way I can mine the Nether trees a lot faster. Wait a minute, this isn't my base. What's going on here? Oh, I wonder if the portal that generated in the Nether like doesn't line up with the portal from the base. That's really weird though. Has this ever happened to any of you? So I guess let's just try to find our way back to the base, and you know, the easiest way might just be to go straight up. Now it's completely dark for me, but I'm totally gonna increase the brightness in this when editing, so this way you guys can have a good view. And I ran out of scaffolding pretty quick, so I guess now we're on to just building a spiral staircase up. After a little while of digging up, here we are at the top of the mountain. Now, good news is I'm not that far off. The bad news is I have no idea why the portal didn't link up properly. Though all I need to do is go back to the base, write down the coordinates, then we can move the portal to the spot it should be in. What? That creeper literally exploded right next to me. Okay. So here we are. So now we just need to make the portal at 8, comma, whatever, 142. So here's where we are, and here's where we need to be. Overall, it's not too far away, so let's just move the portal. And fingers crossed. Yay! Okay, now does this connect up to the new portal? All right, we did it. So now we have 2 missions in the Nether here. One is to get some ender pearls, and I think the easiest way to get that would be to find a warped forest. And the other mission is to get some blaze rods, and that will involve finding a fortress. I always get completely lost in the Nether, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to be building these bridges and tunnels and then kind of exploring the spots that are close by. And pretty quickly, we've already found our warped forest up there. And I've just placed a roof 2 blocks above the ground here, so this way the Endermen can't get to us, but we can swing our sword at them. And after killing some Endermen, we should have enough Ender Pearls to move on to our next phase. Let's go find a fortress now. Right, so we've dropped off the Ender Pearls, and now let's just look for another fortress. I'm not really feeling like going too much further that way. This is Crimson Forest as far as I can see, and the same thing goes that way. So we're gonna be bridging over the lava instead. I hope there aren't any ghasts. Also, that reminds me, there's this neat advancement that you get when you look at a ghast through a spyglass. And I think that the name Is It a Balloon is so funny. Now, one thing to note is I don't think the ghasts spawn in the Crimson Forest biome, so I think that means there is a Nether Wastes nearby. Now that we're through the netherrack here, we can now start building some more bridges. Wait, there's the ghast. Nice. Anyways, let's stop getting distracted. We're on a mission. Let's find the Nether Fortress. Whoa, wait, this is a bastion here. That's so cool. Again, not a fortress, but it's still pretty cool. I'll definitely remember this place for later. There's a lot of piglins in here. I don't think I've actually ever raided one of these in survival before. Anyways, enough distractions. We gotta keep searching for that fortress. Now let me tell you something. If you're in your own survival world doing this, I would 100% explore the same seed in a creative world so you can kind of get an idea of where some of the things are and if you like it or not. I totally did that for the overworld. For this one, I was checking out a whole bunch of different worlds until I found one that had a cool mountain that I liked. But I think I probably should have done the same for the Nether. But you know what else would be really cool? If they had some sort of map or some sort of game mechanic that led you to a fortress, like how they do with the stronghold and finding it with Eyes of Ender, or I think something like that would be really cool. Maybe from Piglins? Some way of finding these fortresses where it's not just luck based. And speaking of luck, here we are. Of course, for you, it's a minute, but for me, this was like 4 hours, and I just am showing you 1 minute worth of me digging through the Nether. But anyways, let's go find some blazes. So let's put a marker down so we don't get too lost. Now I could really use to find a blaze spawner, because that would make this whole process so much easier. And there we go. Here's our blaze spawner. So now we just gotta camp out here and kill some blazes. So one thing I didn't think about was how much the armor matters, and since I have some pretty good armor, this is actually really easy. Like, I'm hardly taking any damage from the blazes at all. We have plenty of blaze rods. We should be able to make enough Eyes of Ender for pretty much the whole portal and a bunch to get us to locate it. And after a short trip home, we're ready to get crafting of all the stuff we need to go on our search for the stronghold. Now, which way is this going to take us? And I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the video, but I really think the Eyes of Ender trick is pretty cool for how to locate the strongholds. I guess you kind of would need something because they're buried underground and otherwise would be like basically impossible to find. But I feel like there's not too many other things in this game that have this kind of behavior. And of course, there are the maps you can get from villagers, but honestly, those aren't nearly as fun as throwing an item and it just points you towards a thing. I think this means we found our spot, so the stronghold should be right underneath us. Oh cool, there's a big cave underneath us. I can't see the stronghold from here, but hopefully we should be able to see it down below. Now where is this stronghold? Maybe it's further down? There it is! And now it's just a matter of finding the portal room. I feel like the game developers missed an opportunity here when they added the deep slate in 1.18. These strongholds look kind of out of place because I think they were like designed to fit in with the stone. I feel like they should add a deep slate stone bricks or something like that these would be made of that would look a lot cooler. Let's go. Okay. Now place your bets. How many times do you think I'm gonna die? I think I'm probably gonna die like 3 or 4 times. Actually, you know what? Why don't you pause the video right now and leave a comment about how many times you think I'm gonna die. And also how many times you've died the last time you beat the Ender Dragon. So while I'm fighting the dragon, I figured I can give you some tips and tricks on what I think is gonna make your fight a lot easier. So the first thing is when you're taking out the pillars that have the cages, always be a little bit below them just like I did. So this way you don't blow yourself up when you destroy the end crystal. Second thing is you'll definitely want to either have infinity on your bow or you're gonna want to have a ton of arrows. When you are pillaring up, always make sure to have water bucket super handy. So this way you can always jump and use the water bucket to save your life. This reminds me, always make sure to have some really good food. I think golden carrots work really well for this because they have a little bit of regeneration you get at the end. And one last thing, when you're fighting the Ender Dragon after you've taken out all the pillars, you could totally use beds on top of the portal at the end there. But of course I forgot some beds. So another strategy you can use is just wait until the Ender Dragon is just about to take off and then have your arrows ready. And you can get 3 or 4 good shots in before the Ender Dragon is too far away. Woo! I think this is the first time I've ever beaten the dragon without dying. Oh, and of course I look at an Enderman right then. And now one last thing we need to get before we go is the dragon egg. Got it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one, where we either get some beacons or maybe we do some end busting. I'm not quite sure yet, but if you have some cool ideas, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll see what we do next episode. I'll catch you then. See ya!